This morning we're making another Café Cubano, but actually got real Cuban coffee. So we got the Café Bustelo Cuban coffee, and this comes in like it's a 10-ounce brick. Pretty solid, so it's vacuum sealed. And we're gonna open this up and we're gonna use the moka pot as well as the Secura milk frother. And we're gonna kind of make a, say, cafetillo. Again, really bad with these names. I need to write them down and that way I can actually speak about them correctly. But it's basically like a cafe latte Cuban style. So the milk added, but we're gonna do 50-50 instead of the 1/3 to 2/3 kind of mix that you normally would do. So it's gonna kind of be a variation between a cafe au lait with more of a Cuban style making the coffee. So we're gonna pull out our equipment, get it set up real quick, and we are going to make this coffee for you this morning. So yeah, let's get right into it. Hope everybody's having a good day. And if there's anybody in Florida, please be careful because you know Milton's on its way. Right. We're also going to use the moka pot to do this as well. And I was running a little crazy this morning. So we're setting this up like we normally do, which is on the hot plate. There we go. So we're setting it up on the hot plate like this, and then we're going to put some heat into it, get this going. But we also need to make sure that we have our water ready to go and our milk. So let's get some water. And we're gonna go ahead and preheat this, get this boiling. And we're also going to get a little bit of temperature into this. We don't need a lot at first. And let's make sure we open cafe. And I don't think I've ever used the Café Bustelo before. So let's peek inside here and see how this looks. Okay, now I cut on the dotted line. That wasn't right. So we're gonna go below. There you go. It is vacuum sealed, so you should hear a little like puff of air enter in. So let's take a look in here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay, so that smells completely different. So we've got, a German coffee as well, and the roast is about the same, and I'd say even the grind is very similar. But the smell is completely different. And it's got a really unique smell to it. It smells wonderful. All right, so we're good on this. Let's go ahead and prep the moka pot. I don't know if you guys ever used the moka pot before, but it is slowly becoming one of my favorite little things to use. All right, so we're gonna put that right on this pan. And the reason we're using the pan is twofold. One is that an induction stove does not heat up aluminum. So you can have it on there all day and it just won't even register that there's anything on there. So what we have is we have a cast iron pan, and the cast iron heats up really well. But the second thing that it does is it really retains the heat really well. And so once you start boiling on the moka pot, once you see a little bit of the espresso coming out, you shut off the heat. And the residual heat from the pan and the moka pot keeps it brewing for a long time, actually. So you don't need to keep heat on it, which can cause steam to come through, because you don't want the steam to come through and blow out your coffee puck that you have and cause a lot of really bad flavors as well. Just, you don't want to do that. All right, water's boiling over there. We'll get that going in a second. Let's take a look at this coffee. And also, let me get a little spoon for this too. Let's see how this is. Oh yeah. You can see that it's a really, really fine powder that's going to go in there. I don't know if you can really see that or not in the picture, but it is really close to being a pure espresso grind. That really low micron grind for an extraction. All right, about ready? I'm getting a little bit of heat in there, which is good. And we got the water is about to click over now. So we're gonna go and pull it off a little early, but you can hear it boiling inside. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go and fill that up to just below the safety valve. And we'll keep that, we'll let that boil fully. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take your little basket here. It's kind of like a portafilter. It does about the same thing. The holes aren't as small as like an espresso portafilter. You can see the little holes in there. But the water is gonna come up through this funnel, push down through the steam. Steam's gonna push down this way, and then it's gonna force the water up there. And that's what's gonna give you kind of the espresso brew that you're gonna get out of this. Okay, so what we're doing is we're just gonna fill this up. And yeah, I know this isn't like the best way to do the coffee, that you should measure the grams and stuff like that, but we're doing it the method that they say to do, which is to fill it up just under the line and fill in the basket. Yeah, this is like, I mean, you can see like as I'm kind of tamping it with my hand, this is just a really nice fine grind. It seems really consistent as well. And then after we get the top on, we're gonna put this on, and you can look on the bottom. So there's a little silicone ring here, and that's what seals this. This has to be sealed because you're creating pressure in there. As the steam fills in the chamber, it's gonna create that pressure. That's what gives you the espresso. So you have to have a good seal. This does not have to be on tight, like super tight. You'll kind of feel it as you go. And all of my all of my cleaning stuff. So we're gonna use this. It's gonna be a little funny, but it should get the job done. So one thing you wanna do is don't use the handle. The handle will break if you use it to twist. But you'll feel like it'll hit, and you give it a little, and you make sure it's just nice and snug, and that's it. So as long as you got a good tight seal on there, you should be okay. And now what it's doing is once we got that on, it's starting to create pressure. So you think of it like a pressure cooker for making food at your house, right? You put all your ingredients in, you put some liquid in, it seals the top, and then you put it on the heat source. And then the heat increases the pressure, which changes how water reacts. So the more pressure water's under, it, I believe, want to say lowers the boiling rate. I always have a hard time with that. Yeah, it does. Yeah, lowers the boiling rate, which is why cars are under pressure as well. So once you do all of that, then it's going to boil off the water faster, steams increase, and then it pushes through what should be the best temperature water that comes through. And the reason we used boiling water is to give it a little head start so that you're not putting through colder water into the brew. It kind of evens out the temperature as it comes through. Gives you a better chance to have a nice warm brew coming through. Okay, now while that's going on, we're gonna go ahead and get the milk ready. And we are going to make, actually you might even use half and half on this. I think we should use half and half. So, you know, half and half is just half cream and half milk. And I've already put sugar into the cups. And I hope this isn't too loud. It has been really loud lately. But I'm hoping with me filling it up more, it'll kind of quiet it down. All right. Yeah, so in these cups, we have about a tablespoon of brown sugar in there. And what we're gonna do is, when we get the espresso coming out, you're gonna add it to the cup, and then you're going to basically whip it. Whip it good. You're gonna whip it until it becomes like a froth. They'll change from like a dark brown because of the sugar to light brown. It almost looks like a chocolate shake kind of color and even consistency. Once you get that, then you can pour the rest of the espresso in and you should be good. And we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna add a tiny little bit of vanilla to the sugar. So like typically you would do this with like a cafe au lait, you would add a little bit of vanilla. We're just changing things up just a little bit. And vanilla is interesting too because it's a smell profile. So it doesn't actually add much flavor. It's all about smell, which is really good for your taste buds. The smell is totally linked to your taste buds, so it is definitely good in that way. So we got a little bit of coming off. We're going to go ahead and turn that off immediately. And then what you'll do is we're going to get some of this espresso off the side here, if we can. I think my spoon's too big. And you're going to add it so that you can start forming the paste. And you don't want to put too much. If you put too much, you'll have to add more sugar. Well, I mean, you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing if you add a little more sugar to this. Okay, let's see how that is. We're gonna give it a little whipping. I love this thing because of the whipping, for the whipping. So, yeah, you can just see the consistency there. And we might, yeah, we need a little more. It's a little too, so you just add a few drops as you go. You can see that consistency, how it's starting to turn into, it's getting a little lighter. But you think about it, you really want it to be almost like, see how like it's gotten lighter color now? You're just adding air and you're just whipping sugar. Okay, that's one down. Let's go ahead to the next one and see how this one's too thick. So same thing. Come in, get a little bit, and you just add enough. This one might be still too thick, just a little bit. We just need a little bit of like just tiny bit. There's like this little perfect mixture. It's a little difficult to get. There it goes. But see how now it's not really sticking to the whisk. And that's the consistency you're looking for right there. So let's go ahead and just get some air into it. And now, you can see how it's just this really light brown paste. And then we have our 2 cups. And then this thing is, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's still slowly brewing the coffee. The milk is also done too. So what I think is at this point, yeah, it's just still slowly brewing, which is really nice. I'd say let's go ahead and pour this in and add it, and then we can add the milk. I think we have enough for 2 cups here. What we're gonna do, is we're gonna just pour this about halfway on each cup. We'll set it back down. It should still brew a little bit too. But I think we got good consistency here. So you can see there's our 2 cups. And now we're just gonna take and slowly stir. You don't wanna, slow is your friend here on this. You just want you don't wanna upset that sugar foam that's on top. So you just want to kind of incorporate nice and slow. All right, now let's check out the milk. Yeah, this milk looks really, really good. So this is why I like the Sakura, is if you look at that consistency of that milk, here, it's just nice, almost like whipped cream kind of finish to it. Look at that. So it's got those micro bubbles that you're really after. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour slow and tip it. So what you'll see is as you're pouring it, the milk will come out. Just like that. And we're leaving the foam in this. So it's just a nice milk pour. Okay. Let's put a little more milk into this. And then once we get the milk, we'll go ahead and pour the foam on the top. And you can see, look how beautiful that looks. And we'll do the same with this one. All right, so this is a Café Cubano with milk. So it's sugar that has that nice foam, nice steamed milk to it. Let's give this a try. That's so good. Oh my God, that is really good. Super rich. That Cubano, the Café Bustelo. I wouldn't think there would have been this much of a difference between the two of them, but there is. There's a huge difference between like using normal roast, even a finely ground roast, which tastes really good, but this Cuban coffee is really nice. So I'm gonna go give this one to my wife. All right, guys. Well, that's basically it. So that is a Café Cubano with milk, con leche. There's another name for it. This one, again, a little bit differently. We did more milk, I think, than what is usually required. But honestly, again, you make the coffee how you want.